I don't think it is a secret that I am a massive fan of detective games. I mean, hell, we've covered plenty of them on the channel already. However, today's game is one that I have not played before and one that I have heard so many good things about. For those of you that don't know, the game I'm talking about, of course, is... In Murdered Soul Suspect, we are tasked with investigating our own death. With the Bell Killer at large, it means that we are going to have to absolutely perfect our paranormal activities to make sure that he goes down. And of course, we have to grind all 48 achievements that come with the game as well. And I don't think grinding all of these achievements is going to be the easiest thing to do in the world, considering that we're dead. So let's just try anyway. Without further ado, folks, welcome to the Achievement Grind. The game begins with our detective taking a bit of a stumble. When he hits the ground, we get a montage of his past and how he got his beautiful ink. But don't worry, everything's fine. He wakes up healthy and as good as new. With the criminal about to get away, we need to begin chase again. Although something's not quite right, as we soon see our own body struggling on the floor. Like the genius we are, we try to Doctor Strange the situation and hop back inside our sleeve. But the Bell Killer returns to finish the job. With our chest full of fashionable little holes, we are now totally dead. If you can't tell, there's a handy ghosting session to really cement Ronan's place in the afterlife. Hell, he even has a friendly encounter with his wife Julia, who recently passed away. But it's not time to step into the light yet. We have work to do as our body isn't ready for the eternal rest. We need to figure out what in our life wasn't finished. Once we complete that, our wife awaits. Wanting answers quickly, we explore the area until we meet Anne's small child. This ghostly girl seems to know her way around this void, and even though she's weird about it, Abigail clues us on the basics of death. The first thing she explains are the gifts. Our strengths in life are amplified in death, and now there is a catalogue of powers that we may be able to acquire. But everybody's different. She then reaffirms that we need to move on from this place or we might be stuck in this void forever. Her final warning is that this place may not be as safe as we thought, and who knows what's waiting for us. Deciding to get a move on, we start to investigate our own death. By this time, the police are on the scene and the first person we meet is Baxter, a wanker who seems to hate us for no apparent reason, but thankfully our brother-in-law arrives to put him in his place with a very nice heartfelt slap. With that, we officially begin the investigation, and we also unlock our first achievement with the death wish of a shady man. We start the investigation with a couple of obvious clues, like my body and the gun. But our first paranormal edge comes into play as we learn about the possess ability. We are able to enter people, and from inside them we can do a couple of things. The first we test is mind read, and yes, for doing it for the first time, we also unlock mind reader. We take in some more clues and mess with more people's brains to help recount exactly what happened, and we soon find out. Yep, we were killed. But we need to extend the search radius to the room I was shoved out of, so we move on to detect further. For completing our first investigation as well, we also unlock yet another achievement. Now, before we go any further, I need to tell you a couple of things about the achievements, namely how many of them are connected to collectibles. In this game, there are a bunch of different pickups ranging from information on the killer, our wife, and even topics like the history of Salem witches. And there's an achievement for getting every single entry in every single category. So the start of our collectible journey begins here. Inside the first house, we also use a new power for the first time, Reveal, which, get this, reveals things. But I mention this because by using it for the first time, we unlock two more achievements. The first is Discover Reveal, and the second is Collected 1 for finding the first of 242 collectibles in the game. I told you I wasn't joking about the sheer amount. In this void though, we soon find another human who is in between worlds. This is Ingrid, and she unfortunately passed away. She knows she's been killed, but she doesn't know where her body is, and she thinks that will find her peace, which will allow her to move on. So we need to put our own death on hold for now whilst we discover where this body is. We find out quite quickly who the culprits are though, the two elderly neighbours. They were both fed up with her late night parties and one day decided enough was enough. They killed her and moved her body to a nearby quarry. We tell Ingrid the news and of course it's not easy to hear. But with that we save her soul and watch her ascend, also unlocking us the missing body. Now again, this isn't the only person who we will help throughout the game, so more on these lost souls as they pop up. It's time for the first dose of scares and horror. We find Abigail again scribbling on the walls, which turns out to be be a new collectible type. But we also come face to face with the demons, entities that got lost to the void that now roam free looking for more ghost auras to steal. If they catch us, they will dementor our soul, but we are in luck. We are able to escape by hiding our presence in objects, and then if we approach them from behind, we can cast it to hell. And as you'd imagine, for doing that for the first time, it also gives us Exorcist. With that obstacle over, we continue to search the buildings for clues leading up to our death room. On the way, we also unlock another achievement, Poltergeist, for using that power for the first time, which lets you interact with electrical items to distract humans. Followed quickly by interrogating our first ghost, unlocking Interrogator. We find out that this man in the bath originally wanted to give his wrists a shave, but backed out. Unfortunately, as he went to get out of the bath though, he knocked the radio into it and then electrocuted himself instead. And that... Christ, that's rough. Oh well, cheers for the achievement, chap. We then collected 10 artifacts for yet another achievement, and also discovered the first ghost story, which is another group of collectibles. In certain areas you can find pickups that once collected will tell you another horror story of somebody's bizarre demise. And yeah, if you can't tell already, you unlock achievements very easily in this game. Finally, it's time to search the loft. We find more clues on the struggle that happened here, but it turns out we weren't alone. Before we entered the scene to arrest the Bell Killer, we were shown a young girl who seems to be trying to evade the killer herself. We're shown that our struggle in fact saved her life, as it gave her the perfect chance to slip away. And judging by the sheer strength of the killer, that's probably for the best, as this guy is capable of, well, anything it seems. With more clues in the apartment, we think the girl may have ran away to the nearby church for safety, so I guess that's our next adventure. For finding out about the witness and searching for our death's crime scene, we also unlock one of us. Lovely, but not as lovely as us unlocking the next achievement only seconds later, as then we use Remove for the first time, which, you'll never guess, removes things, and we discover Remove. For the first time, the map of the game is open, and we have free access to move about pretty much most of the city, taking in the sights of the new world mixing with the old world of Salem for us, getting all of the collectibles that we can find, and most importantly, seeing if there is any stray achievements wandering about anywhere. And thankfully, I'm pleased to say that there are. Quite a couple, in fact. We start by finding our 25th collectible in total for Collector 25. Not the biggest fan of these achievement names, but I'll let it slide. Next, we have a true treat, as the next achievement is literally the definition of stray, as we soon find a cat. But you guessed it, for taking over a cat for the first time, Possess the Cat is ours as well. Followed rather quickly by our 50th collectible, which of course is another achievement as well. Now, some of you may be a little bit nervous about the sheer amount of collectibles in this game, but they're actually handled quite well. The only ones I would say can get a little bit too tricky are the drawings, as you have to reveal them before you can collect them, and sometimes the trigger can be really hit and miss, but the others are actually quite fun to find. They're shown pretty well by giant glowing lights, so you won't really miss most, and the collectibles do a really good job on giving more clues and lore to the story and the situation, so it was quite refreshing to play a game with good collectible management, to be honest, considering how many there are. But who cares about that? We have another lost soul to help. We soon stumble on Brad, who has passed on due to a car crash, but it appears he was incredibly drunk whilst driving, which also makes him a dick. In order to help Brad move on, we need to find out what truly happened with this car crash, and honestly, it doesn't take us too long, as when we go to the petrol station, we are shown all. He was with a group of friends trying to get home, and Brad in fact was trying to call a taxi. Somehow he was convinced to get into the car, but he wasn't the driver, so I take back that dick comment, but the woman filling up the car was. So however relieving it is that Brad wasn't the one behind the wheel, getting killed by your drunk best friend is another bitter pill to swallow. With his answers though, he floats off and leaves behind carnage. But Brad isn't the only lost soul in need of our help, as later on we arrive at a beach with the ghost of a dead girl who hasn't a clue about anything. She has totally lost all of her memories, so once again we're tasked with helping to piece this puzzle together. Only this time it was a pleasure to do so. It turns out that this woman drowned after rescuing a bunch of people after a boat capsized. She is a hero and is definitely remembered as one. It's not ideal as she's dead, but it's great to give some good news over a death, to be honest, instead of saying nope, you messed up or your friends did. We tell her how great she was and she flies away, unlocking us amnesia as well. Finally, we've arrived at the church in search for the missing girl. You'll be amazed to know though folks, as before anything else happens we unlock yet another collectible achievement, this time for getting 75 in total. Nowhere near done, but we do unlock collect 75. With that we murder some more demons that just randomly appear and possess yet another terrific feline friend in order to get us into the attic. Once there we find the girl. She's looking for a set of keys, so we decide to help her if we can, accidentally finding the last collectible we need for another chilling ghost story. Now these These ghost stories are great little adventures and are worth listening to, so I won't reveal what was said in them, but for finding another full set, another precious achievement is ours with the Bell Tower Banshee. With that out of the way, we go to possess the girl to make her aware of her keys. Only something weird happens when we go to do so.
So get the hell out! God damn it, if you ever possess me again, you have no right to dump your unfinished business on me.
Now, I'm tracking down my killer, okay? Someone who was seconds away from attacking you about an hour ago, and if... Wait a minute. You can see me? Holy shit. You're a medium.
Yep, we have a connection to the real world as this nameless girl is a medium, which means that she can connect herself to the void, talk to ghosts, and she even has a couple of tricks up her sleeve, but more on those later. Through a long interrogation, we find out that this girl is looking for her mum, who is also another medium, which makes sense, and we think she is the target of something. Before we can pry though, she finds the keys and takes her exit. Things take a bizarre turn though, as when we go to leave the lobby, we are blocked by a demon portal. Step on one of these things and we are basically dead. So we have to possess somebody and use them as like a transportation over the death puddle. Only it appears that the living priest of the church may have a ghostly side to him after all. Prepare to be entered.
Well, what's gotten into you?
What's got... I mean, I guess it works. Priest? Priest? Where are you?
This place is so cold tonight.
Maybe because you're in wood? Okay, after that bizarre moment, we do indeed make it across and out. Whilst we're planning the next move, we get hissed at by a dick cat, and we figure out she's heading towards the police station to get a book. I'd try a library personally, but hey, it's her choice. Also, of course, for completing the church section of the game, we also unlock Makeshift Sanctuary. On the path to the station, we find yet another desperate soul in need of help, and this one goes a bit differently. She's standing in front of a couple, and it turns out that the man in this couple is the dead woman's ex. We need to find out if he was cheating when she was alive. It turns out very quickly that no, he wasn't cheating, but her death is actually what brought them together. That is rough. Even more rough is that she unalived herself over this, so finding that out is even more for nothing. Damn, this is just rough. But sod it, another person saved and another achievement in the bag with Scorned. With that out of the way, we finally make it to Salem's police department, where we hear our brother give a talk about the Bell Killer, and that he's now to be shot on sight. But folks, I'm afraid we will have to get a little group of achievements out of the way with first, as apparently there are a lot of collectibles in this station, so let's quickly speed through what we unlocked and we can get back to the story. The first category we finished is learning about Baxter's life. He was a tosspot. There you go. That's a nice little summary for Baxter's story. We also collect our 100th item in total for the phenomenally named Collector 100, followed by learning about our brother-in-law Rex's story for an achievement of the same name. And we also even learn to have a word with ourselves and learn about the real Ronan. With all of his collectibles grabbed too, we also unlock Ronan's story. We also complete the ghost story of the station as well and learn of the Stalwart Spectre. Ooh, scary, right? But also completed for the Stalwart Spectre. I also found these bizarre little Easter eggs as well, where every single photo in this police cabinet has been replaced with the exact same dude, even the dog, and everybody in the building also has an obsession with Deus Ex games. And honestly, I don't blame you, I remember that being really good. Eventually though, we do indeed find the girl. She got caught, as you would imagine, so we offer another helping hand to get us both what we want, and she gladly accepts this time. So we slowly start to sneak her inside Baxter's office to look for the book. Considering this girl's mum used to work alongside him, we realise that he wouldn't have the book out in the open, so we put our best detective foot forward, and exactly 14 seconds later, we find the hidden compartment where the book is. As we're leaving though, a pamphlet for the Salem History Museum falls out, which is odd, but we can think about this later. We need to get us out of here. When she makes it outside safe and sound, we also unlock another another achievement with half-truths and whole lies. We reconnect outside and decide what the next best step is, also finding out that this little edgy bucket of sunshine is also called Joy. Ironic. In the book, we piece together that the last place her mum went to was the cemetery nearby, so we decide to once again stick together to sort this whole mess out. We arrive there shortly after, where we see another ghost girl. This one, however, looks like she has been through it, and she seems to be absolutely terrified by Ronan's presence. That's not important now though, as we need to find out why her mum was visiting this grave, and we soon police the hell out of the situation to find out. It turns out that the Bell Killer had another victim here, one that the police don't know about, and that makes sense considering the dead girl that keeps running away from us. So we begin suit to try and talk to her, dealing with more annoying demons in the path. Now these demons, honestly, I don't understand why they were added. I mean, I do understand why. I suppose they're there to give a little bit of attention to the ghost world, and so that you have to carefully plan when they emerge. The only problem is that they are totally pointless and almost boring. They don't add anything, and we know nothing about them. They just serve to break up the story by adding 5 or 10 minutes every now and again to keep the player busy. But every time they appeared, I audibly groaned. So yeah, I actually wish these demons just weren't in the game personally. But we eventually make our way through just as you folks would expect me to. We eventually trap the ghost, but not really. She gets scared off again and teleports. Thinking that teleporting looked rather cool, we decide to give it a go, and somehow figure out immediately how to do it, teleporting for the first time and unlocking the next achievement with Teleporter. After another really annoying demon section, we meet up with her again and try to convince her that we mean her no harm. We are not that kind of guy. But where we find her again is the site of which she joined the Void. She stops running and silently clues us in on what happened. Our suspicions are only confirmed when we connect with her. It shows her death exactly. The Bell Killer stringed her up connected to a chair, then lowered her into the water for a nice big drink. Mental. At this point, I was also very connected to the story. Considering this game isn't the longest in the world, its story is easily the best aspect, and every piece and clue just wants you to delve deeper. Who is the Bell Killer? Where's Joy's mum? Why is the Bell Killer even killing these people? It really plays out well, and the pacing is wonderful. We carry on once more, collecting our 150th collectible in total, unlocking another achievement as well, followed soon after by the ghost story for this location as well, which gives us the heirloom. We reunite with Joy and clue her in on what's just happened. So together they use their sharp wits and soft wet brains to figure out the next place to go, and it's the local mental hospital, as somebody in there may be a survivor of the Bell Killer, and she could help piece together more of this. So we have yet another journey on our hands. And of course, for doing all of this in the cemetery too, Ashland unlocks. On the way to the mental institution, folks, you will be shocked and upset to know that we have another achievement. This, however, is just for fully completing another ghost story. Once all the gas canisters have been collected in the base map, Eternal Flame unlocks for us also. We eventually make it to the hospital and once again break Joy in so that we can creep around together. Now, this is the part of the game that lost me a touch, as there are so many demon fights in this building, and it just got so old so quickly, which is a shame because I've been loving every other part of this game so far. But these pesky bastards still don't stop us from getting our next achievement as well, when we find yet another ghost story with Man in the Box. As you would imagine, soon we find the survivor in question, Iris. Although it's not good. She's doodling on the walls and freaking out, but Ronan decides to still try to get through to her. Throughout a series of flashbacks, we see that the Bell Killer intended to kill both Iris and her twin sister Rose. Only Rose broke free and saved Iris, unfortunately sacrificing herself in the process, as we soon see her getting burned alive at the stake. Far more well done to my liking, but hey, to each their own. With us finding out about Iris's surprising sister scorching session, Rose decides to emerge. We convince Rose and Iris to come with us, as Iris is only going to get another dose of electroshock therapy. Deciding that the shocking path isn't the best, we perform another jailbreak. Iris then clues us in on something. The Bell Killer apparently makes sure that before he kills these people, he gets them to admit that they have contracts with demons. Then he either burns them alive, drowns them, or something else that is just quite frankly too much. We decide that the Salem History Museum may give us more clues, so Joy takes Iris and Roasty McToasty back to church for safety. Doing this also unlocks us lost causes. With most of the collectibles got as well, we don't need to mess around and we head straight there. Inside is a collection of weapons and tools used to kill many people throughout the history of Salem. Rock burials, the chair that we saw Sophie take a swim with, and even the gallows. Hopefully the person who died on the gallows took it better than Kat did, but my point is, sorry, that this is a lovely room of of death. Also inside this room we unlock yet another ghost story as well. I really do enjoy listening to these, so I would recommend them, but this one unlocks us terror on the tracks. Further into the museum we find a section dedicated to the witch trials which haven't been shown to the public yet, and inside here we find more strange connections to the Bell Killer, and something rather nice is cleared up. After finding his symbol on a painting and a bunch more clues, we piece together that the Bell Killer is exclusively killing mediums, because he believes them to be modern day witches. That is why he's also killing them in so many bizarre ways, as that's how witches were killed in them their olden days. Not only that, but we start to piece together who the culprit might be. He's been involved in this the entire time, and he just keeps popping up. So maybe we need to have a look for him. For completing this terrific section, we also unlock the next achievement, Wicked Tempers. We race out of the museum and head back to the church, but we find out quickly that things have gone so horrendously wrong, as the place is flooded with police. But then we find it. Iris is dead and has been crushed to death by the statue on top of the fountain. She had her freedom for maybe half an hour, and this just sucks to see. We piece the scene together and see that she jumped out of a window to escape the Bell Killer and shattered her ankle. With no movement, the killer just pushed a rock on top of her and then takes a big piece, ending it in the same way we've seen before. Horrible to watch, but also shocking as we get another glimpse of the insane power this killer holds. Lifting a rock like that is no joke. I mean, shit, I get a stitch from eating soup, for God's sake. With this, we race to the attic to piece the rest together, also finding the final wall drawing as well. With all of the supernatural graffiti hours, we unlock Codex. We soon find another room that is filled with dead people, and we soon see that Iris ran through this crowd and the killer just breezed through and killed every single person in his path. Yikes. Hey, it doesn't stop us from unlocking the next achievement though. As for piecing Iris's death together, we unlock Ghosts Never Die. Going further up, we soon find the body of the lovely priest from earlier as well. He got his neck quite savagely broken in the scuffle. That is where we connect another small thing. The killer is definitely supernaturally powered. If you couldn't already tell, the hissing cat confirms it, as cats don't like the spooks and the scares. So how did the Bell Killer get his power, and how does he use it to kill people in the real world if he is a ghost? Well, I guess we'll find out. The killer let something slip though, and I mean that literally, as we soon find a key that fell out of his pocket. And just like that, we know exactly where the killer is hiding thanks to the pamphlet from the museum. He is hiding in a derelict abandoned building called the Judgment House. Ronan leaves the building and bumps into Joy, who has also just been arrested. We tell her about the priest's death, who was a dear friend to her, before Rex drives her away to the station. The next step, the Judgment House, of course. We need to find Baxter and sort all of this out. Folks, we arrive at the house and soon find out that this indeed is where the killer is hiding. But before we get into that, it's time to achieve the rest of the collectibles, as this is the final location of the story. So let me quickly list off the 7 collectible achievements we've yet to unlock. Firstly, we have all of the information about the Bell Killer finished with a poem on the wall, and unlocks us the Bell Killer story. Soon followed by all of Cassandra's collectibles, and Cassandra, if I haven't said yet, is Joy's mum's name, so we get that for Cassandra's story. We then get every piece of information about the witch trials for the witch trials, followed immediately by learning everything about our wife Julia for Julia's story. Almost done, folks. Next is all of Salem's history, which pops another achievement, and then the final ghost story, which gives us not only ashes for listening to the story, but collect it all for finding every single collectible in the game. Truly was a lot, but it didn't feel anywhere near as bad as it should. Just use a good guide and you'll be fine. In the house, we do find Baxter. The killer is finally caught, and oh wait, what? Baxter's dead? So that rather rules him out, I guess, as we soon find him on the floor sporting a new bullet hole where his eye normally lived. His ghost then appears and clues us in on the missing parts. Baxter claims that the Bell Killer is the one who put him down, but when they were fighting, the killer talked. He claimed he knew of death and his instrument of death will kill again. With now more questions, we need to take our leave, but not before we see another insane thing lower into the basement of the house. We eventually find a homemade prison, and then it gets weird as we see Abigail again, the little girl from the beginning. It turns out that she is about to be put to death for getting a bunch of people killed, claiming them to be witches, and I mean a bunch of people, but it turns out that they weren't. As she argues her point, she marks the bell symbol into the floor and claims that no matter what happens, she will spend the rest of eternity finding and killing every witch in Salem. Folks, Abigail is the Bell Killer. which of course means that she is the one who killed Ronan and Iris and, well, everyone. One last time we managed to piece together where Abigail might have got to, and we soon realised that she is going to kill Joy by using the same gallows that killed her. So we race back to the museum as quickly as we can, also unlocking Judgment. Moments later we arrive and things are indeed in a bad way, as when we turn the corner we see that Rex is in fact the Bell Killer as well? Oh, Abigail is possessing him, and that's how all of this is done, including the portals that sometime killed me when I wasn't paying attention. With Joy and our life on the line, we remind Joy of the power she possesses, the insane scream that is able to knock any ghost out of the person they are possessing, and Abigail goes flying whilst Rex passes out. We charge at Abigail to stop her, also getting a glimpse of her death. This is where she breaks everything down, and I think it's just best if I let Abigail explain it all for me.
How could Rex have done it? Rose's killer had blue eyes.
I didn't use the same killer for every murder.
Baxter. Why did you kill Baxter?
I eventually kill all the killers I use. Especially the ones who get close to the truth.
I wasn't close to the truth in the apartment. I wasn't one of your killers. Why did I have to die?
That's right, not only is Rex the Bell Killer, but also Baxter and indeed ourselves. That is why Sophie the girl who drowned was so terrified of us, because we were the ones who killed her. I'm not gonna lie folks, this kinda blew my mind a little. I thought Baxter was going to be a red herring, but the double bluff on top of 2 or 3 really nice delivered twists, honestly, I really like this reveal. I thought this was extremely clever. But now it's all out in the open, so Abigail decides to bury us in a demon portal once and for all. However, she's not too spatially aware, so we just grab onto her and bring her down with us. Plot twist though, we escape, and feel wonderful as we see Abigail get taken into a puddle and away for eternity. Ah, the demise of a child. Not something I thought we'd celebrate, but here we are. Folks, that's it. Joy's fine, and the gang even find a way to help Rex cover his tracks, as none of this was technically his fault. The game ends with Joy reuniting with her thankfully alive mother, and the final shot shows Ronan enjoying another death stick as he sees his wife and walks towards the light, having finally reached salvation, unlocking us the final achievement as well, tightening the noose. Folks, honestly, I absolutely love this game. It truly delivers a short and fantastic punch. For months, my friend had been begging me to play this game, as she knew of my love for a good detective story, and it truly didn't disappoint, to the fact now that this is easily one of the best detective games that I've ever played. But hell, I'm getting far too ahead of myself. With every achievement unlocked though, let's just get straight to it, as for now, the grind is over. So yeah, Murdered is a masterpiece that holds up surprisingly well. The story is genuinely brilliant, and this game has some pretty impressive and amazing mechanics that help you slowly piece together everything naturally, without feeling like the game was just holding your hand or holding the cards too close to the chest. However, I do have a couple of negatives. First, of course, the bastard demons. Nothing sapped the fun and the tension out of the game than being met with another demon section that did nothing other than slow the game down, and these sections did nothing for me. Every time they showed up, I was taken out of the game, and they pop up so much. So yeah, the demons needed totally removing. It may have shortened the game even more, but rather that than these needless and boring sections just to throw a bit of action in. The second negative though is a small one, but I did find it really annoying when talking and asking people questions. Every question you ask will have a weird transition to a cutscene that then gives you the answer, and this gets really jarring, especially when you're asking one person 8 questions. It wasn't handled the best in my opinion. As I said, yeah, it was really jarring. Other than that, genuinely a phenomenal experience, and one that I would suggest to everybody to give a go. With that out of the way though folks, let's just head to the stats. For Murdered Soul Suspect, it took us a whopping 7.4 hours to grind all 48 achievements, which means that we unlocked an achievement on average every 9 to 10 minutes. My rating for this game is going to be a phenomenal and well-deserved 9 out of 10. A couple of points off for the things I previously mentioned, but honestly, this has to be one of my favourite detective games that I've ever played. And it has some fantastic mechanics and unique perspectives that really make this shine on its own. But for the difficulty of the achievements, I am of course going to only be giving it it a 1.5. This game is not difficult in the slightest. The only thing that will take some time is of course all of the collectibles, but if you use a guide you should be absolutely fine. Which is also why Collect All is going to be the hardest achievement to get, considering it just has you do the most. But it really isn't as daunting as you may think. But folks, there we go, another fantastic detective game ticked off and completed, which means, are there any others that I'm forgetting? Because if so, let me know down in the comments and we may see it in the future, who knows. And whilst you're down there, why don't you consider liking and subscribing as well if you did enjoy the video. It would mean a lot, it will help the video out, and of course it means that you will not miss a future achievement grind, and we have some pretty good ones coming up. And of course I want to give a shout out to my Patreon followers as well. Thank you all so much for the extra support, I really do appreciate it. And if you folks want to get early access to the achievement grinds and get your name in the credits, go feel free to check out the Patreon as well, link in the description. But that is it from me today folks, I have already rambled for far too long. Thank you all so much for watching, I really do appreciate it, and I hope to see you in a future installment of the achievement grind. So until then, have a great week everybody, take care, bye bye for now.